Hello, this is Nautical Details, Stamford, Connecticut. So today we're making a little video about removing the decals, the lettering. And here was a name on there. It's hard to see. You see the T over there. Yeah, it's still there. I think the boat name was Tans. So they removed those decals already, but the shading is still there. So we will have to slightly wet sand it and polish it out and make the old name shades disappear. And down here we have to remove the decals quickly with a heat gun and a plastic scraper, and then follow the same process. So next step is we quickly protected the teak decks with some drop cloths, plastic drop cloths. So we're trying not to screw up the teak decks with the wet sanding. The paint or gel coat, whatever we're sanding, will affect the teak and also the compounding dust. So we just do a little bit of drop cross. Maybe we put another couple of rags down there when we start the wet sanding to soak up the residue. So now we are starting to remove the lettering. I already removed the T. So we're taking the heat gun. You can put it on level 1 or 2. Don't go too close. Just beat up the decal. Maybe go in an angle. Stay away a little bit. Doesn't take too long. You can also actually use a hairdryer. Put it on high. In this case, the heat gun might be a little bit too much. Put it on level 1 right now. Okay, turn it off. Remember, put it upside down like this so the hot tip doesn't burn anything. So I have a little scraper here. Let's see what it does. Just loosen up one end. And you see, it comes off in one little step. Okay, let's take this off. That's about it. So we will proceed to do the rest of the name. So we obviously, after removing the decals, still have a heavy coat of the glue residue left behind. So in this case I'm using a little bit of goof off, put it on the rag, and then we try to loosen this up a little bit. In this case it is a seed, the letter C. Let's take a little bit more. I would not use acetone if it's, for example, a painted surface. If you rub too much acetone in one spot at the same time, it will aggravate the surface. There's still a little bit of residue. Then you take one of these scrapers and make sure you get all this off. Maybe do a final, that's what we do, a final wipe. A little bit more of the on and off, goof off, not on and off. So I can feel most of it is gone. Still a little bit left. But to be honest, we are still compounding this with a wool pad. So anything that's still left there will be removed with the wool pad and the compound. So we'll just proceed to get the rest of the name off now. So now we're coming, after we removed the residue from the glue behind the decals, we are doing the wet sanding right now. So in this case, we have a bucket of regular water. I have a sponge sandpaper, kind of, which is actually here from the company Dolphin. And this one is a grit 1200 to 1500. It says it here on the back too, 1200 to 1500. I have 2000 grit sandpaper for the finishing part, and we also have 1000 grit, or we can even go lower if we want to, but I decided to go with the 1200 to see what it does. So this one already is kind of a sponge sandpaper, wet sandpaper that you can see. If I use this one later on, in order to avoid fingerprints, I use this sponge. I cut it a little bit so it fits this one. You can go in here, make it wet, Then we spray a little bit of a lubricant. In this case, it's Infinite Juice from Gary Dean, or you can just use a little bit soap and water. And then we go just in one direction. You will feel the resistance. I prefer to go just left to right. And I see if I can get all these decal shades that are still in there out. Okay, see, like this, you just go in the water, clean it up. Or you use this one, already a sponge, put it on there, put a little bit of water there, and then again go sideways. What we're doing right now is just the first letter. It's the big T of the name Tans. Since you have a sponge now, you won't make the fingerprints that you usually see if you use just your fingers on the sandpaper. Okay, this one you see how you take the paint or the gel coat off in this case. Rinse it off. You can use a rag just to get it off. And then sideways you can see that everything is dull. You also can use something like this. Sometimes works faster, makes it dry. So I do not see the letter T, the border of the decal anymore. So I continue to do this. If you have to go any lower, you can go at gel coat, you can go, in my opinion, down to 400, 600, but then every higher grit has to take out the sanding marks from the grit that you used before, so you don't show any sanding marks later on when you polish it out. So we just finished the polishing with the wool pad, and everything is shiny right now. There's no shades of the lettering. So from that point on, we can put on any coating we want. Protected. It's getting putting away for the to be put away for the winter anyways. Okay, that was it. Nautical Details, Stamford, Connecticut. Take care.